Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you, especially today as we are wrapping up Season 2 of our rewatch with Season 2, Episode 10, Valar Morghulis, written by D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, directed by Alan Taylor, popular name, once again, re-emerging in our Game of Thrones. This is Season 2 was fucking strong.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it makes sense. You know, Game of Thrones, they were finding who they really were for the first couple episodes, and then they hit their stride. But now off Season 2, they knew who they were off the bat, and we got just peak Thrones, and it only gets better, I think, next season, which, it's kind of nuts.
The next few, it feels like it just keeps going up and up and up and up.
Climbing, and that it doesn't make sense, like we've given so many 10s so far, it's like, how could it get better? But it just does. It just does. But,
it just does. Yeah, and with this being the end of Season 2, at the end of the episode, whenever we've given all our favorites, I'm going to go back over what's been our favorites throughout the rewatch so far and give stats. Who's gotten the most favorites nods and character performance. Not so much scene and line. Maybe line. I didn't take that down. I guess who has said the most picked lines. I didn't take that down. But character and performance will for sure be going over the numbers after 2 seasons. Yeah. But what do you say we get into this finale here?
Oh man, yeah, we hit every location. We hit everywhere.
We go everywhere in this one, and we start in King's Landing in his new quarters. Not as lavish as the Tower of the Hand. Tyrion Lannister is waking up from a wound suffered during the Battle of the Blackwater at the hands of Sir Mandon Moore, and he is informed by Grand Maester Pycelle, who is holding up no illusions.
Yeah, no.
This is Pycelle acting like what he actually is instead of
greeted. He was there. He was waiting for him to wake up too, and he was like, you're finally awake. And
you little fucker. And he flicks him the coin, says, for your trouble, like he did to the prostitute whenever he cut his beard off and stuff.
Yeah.
Outstanding. But Pycelle gets to inform him that he is no longer Hand of the King, as his father, Tywin Lannister, has returned to the city and will take over his duties.
Yeah, that's a little rough, Right off the war victory, and he led all those men into battle and had that great speech, everything, and then now, you've been demoted, you've been attempted, assassinated, basically by your own family, and now you're just gonna lay down here, probably, and then we'll probably kill you sometime again. I don't know.
At some point we'll get back around to that. But after that visit, he's paid a visit by Varys. Whenever Tyrion instructs Podrick to go ahead and fetch Bronn and get a couple of his most loyal gold cloaks to come stand watch at his door. He doesn't want another assassination attempt. And Varys has the unfortunate responsibility of telling him that Bronn has been relieved of his command of the gold cloaks. And when he tries to get his hill tribesmen on it, they have been sent home and paid well by Tywin Lannister. Tyrion has officially lost everything he had in the way of power.
Didn't lose one thing, though.
Not yet.
Didn't lose one thing. You know what? I love the line Varys says whenever he's walking out of the room. Something along the lines of without you, King's Landing was facing certain defeat. Some of us know that. It won't be written in the history books, but we'll never forget. And it's kind of more of like kicking him in. You're kind of kicking him more while he's down, but it's like respectful. It's very respectful, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, you're not going to be remembered by this, but like, I guess good job. It's kind of what he's saying. But I don't know. I think just Tyrion, like he was my dude this whole season, and just seeing his rise and everything. I guess if I'm watching this for the first time, I'm thinking Tyrion is going to just keep on climbing and climbing. He's only had victories from here on out. And then sadly, you see him wake up after all of his good doings and finally being a good guy. And he's just now at the bottom of the barrel. I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. Obviously he's maybe not too much of a spoiler, but probably my favorite character of the season, Tyrion was. So, seeing him like this in this state was really sad. But I don't know. We'll see Tyrion go on a rise later. So this isn't absolutely his downfall,
It's not the true end by any means. What's sad though too is that you won't be remembered in history books or anything. I don't know if you recall the end of the show whenever we get to the literal book that was written, A Song of Ice and Fire. Tyrion not mentioned in it.
Oh. No, wait, actually?
Yeah, no,
How?
He's not in it.
How?
I don't know, man.
Wait, isn't he on the... Wait, what happens to him?
It was written by, like, the Grand Maesters at the Citadel. It wasn't written by, like, Samwell or anything. So, like, if it was written by people who were directly involved, yeah, he would have been mentioned. But it was written by people who observed the events, and therein...
Okay.
Observed the events from afar, and therein he was not mentioned.
But he was like Daenerys' hand for a while, and like he did like I feel like he did. Has he done only things that people wouldn't know that he did? Like has he never done one thing?
There's a little bit of both going on here, where it's like he is one of the background players, but he's also a dwarf, and nobody wants to remember him type shit. Nobody wants to take down the things he did.
Dang, man. Not even in the big book.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like he was hand to the queen to a queen who never sat on the throne.
That's true. Yeah, fair. That's like, yeah, okay, that's fair.
It'd be like I'd be willing to bet Davos is not mentioned in history books. No, and it's crazy to compare Tyrion to Davos, but as far as who they served under, they held similar titles. Now, I think in the future, after what comes next with Tyrion being the hand of the king to Bran, he'll probably be mentioned in the future here on in. But
that's fair. Yeah.
Regarding the War of the Five Kings and the Battle of Winterfell and stuff, no, he's not taken note of.
So sad. At least the men will know. The men that fought with him and heard that speech, they'll be like, "Dang, Tyrion did give a good speech that day." That was badass. But
let's go kill them.
No, he'll see his rise. He'll get his flowers there. Eventually. Eventually, right?
Yeah. In my head, but anywho, Varys, like you said, thanks him for his part in defending the city. And he asks Podrick to open the door, where we see Shay, and she comes on in and urges Tyrion to leave with her for Pentos, and he's like, I know I should want that, but man, I really, really don't. I got to do something here. Something's got to get done.
He's a
schemer. I'm the one to do it.
He's the what he said, like he outplays or outthinks or out something. That's what he does, and he loves it. And he's never loved it more than anything ever. I love like both of their lines here. Like Shay, she tells him, like what would we do if we went out, to Pentos, and she was just like eat, drink, fuck, and live. And honestly, like if you gotta have a life motto, if you don't have a life motto yet, like that one's pretty basic, but it works. Like if you got those four things, I don't know.
Right.
Fuck maybe you can replace with love, more. That's probably a better overall message. But just,
man.
take fuck for, that's what she means. That's what Shay means.
Drink, fuck, and live. No, there's nothing better. I almost picked that as my line. I
have three contenders for my line, and that is the first one to come up. So
eat, drink, fuck, and live.
I don't know. It is pretty strong.
A few things to live by. Yeah, man. I don't know. I really loved this scene, and like it just sucks that every scene that happens with Shay and Tyrion that is supposed to be sweet ends up being kind of like I just remember what happens, and I'm like, God damn, where did it all go wrong, man? I know that I don't know, man. I'm just disappoints me because like whenever she's like, you're a shit listener, like you're my lion and I'll love you till the end of fucking time, basically is what she says, and he like breaks down crying and they hug and stuff. Like, man, that shit is powerful, but I'm not tearing up or anything because I'm like, she fucks your dad. I know where
this goes. Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's like I don't know. There are a few things in this show that are just holy and you can hold true the whole time. Podrick, that was another thing I realized. Podrick's a constant the whole time. That dude's chill. Lives. He's cool. Mm-hmm. He lives and he fucks. That dude eat, drinks, fucks, and lives. He checks all the boxes. So Podrick, cool. Jon Snow. I'm trying to think of people who check those 4 boxes and just actually are good people throughout the entire show. I don't know.
Arya, Jon.
Yeah. Rob
doesn't live for much longer.
I guess not live, but as of right now,
he's eat, drinking, and fucking.
He's living for him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but not many. There aren't many people.
Not a lot of them
that you can hold true and have those feelings for the whole time. But we have a few.
Like Davos. He lives, he eats, he drinks. Wouldn't say the man fucks though. There's
like, doesn't check all the boxes. Pedro Pascal.
That man ate, drank, fucked, and lived. There's no doubt. The Viper.
I mean, he really could have had. It was his hubris, his own ego.
Some people, even if they died young, they lived. Yeah,
he did.
And Oberyn Martell is one of those people.
And I feel like Dorne is probably the closest place in Westeros that I would actually want to live.
Oh,
it feels like the most progressive, most
non
king shit. They don't they really don't care about all this shit.
Not at all.
They were the only one to turn down Aegon. The only kingdom to turn down Aegon, and then eventually they married into the Seven Kingdoms. They were the only kingdom to actually not come into the Seven Kingdoms through Aegon. They came in through themselves by marriage, which is that's kind of badass. Dorne's always been their own thing.
Love the Dornish. They're the shit. Yeah. But I can't wait till they show up, and that's not for a couple seasons still. We still got all of season 3 before we get there. But nevertheless, after that in King's Landing, we move over to King Joffrey, rewarding those who served him well in the battle as we are greeted with a pile of shit coming out of a horse, which I think is I thought to myself, why is that necessary? And then I went, we are about to see Joffrey. That's why. That's why we watch that horse shit, I
think Tywin kind of is I'm I'm shitting on all of you. I think he's I think that's kind of I'm the hand of the king, now I'm running this shit.
Right.
I am, I don't know, I don't know, I feel he's above everyone there, sort of thing. And every time Tywin has been introduced, he's been carving a stag, or gutting a stag, or dressing, whatever you call it, at the beginning, just absolutely just badass, and, see him on a horse as he's called, who else does that? You think that's a normal thing that happens whenever the Hand of the King gets named, that they're on a horse? Or do you think Tywin was just I won this battle on a horse, let me take my horse up in the throne room too, It's
I don't know, it's like a symbol of regality that nobody can fuck with, he's it's almost it literally puts him above everyone in the room. So
okay.
Maybe there is something there.
I wonder if it was his decision or if it is a normal I don't know, I guess how often is the Hand of the King? I feel like that's a kind of a personal. It's not really an official thing that happens so often. It just has to happen whenever it needs to happen, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, like because we saw Robert declare Ned hand of the king in the fucking bowels of Winterfell. You know, like it's not
true. So I think it was Tywin's personal. It was just that's all him to bring.
Well, and I fucking loved that he just wrote in. Joffrey was like, "He's the hand of the king now," and he goes, "Yep," and then leaves.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Yep.
See ya.
He's like, I think everyone in the room knows that I'm ruling now.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all get it.
The savior of the city. You know, like that's how he. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
He had to feel pretty nice in that moment. That's for sure.
Then he calls Littlefinger up. Awarded him Harrenhal for brokering the alliance between Lannister and Tyrell, and he calls Loras Tyrell up because he's like, our house owes you a great debt. No one more than me owes you a debt. Anything you ask, I will grant you. And he asks that they join their houses. He marries Marjorie, and we call it a day here. And he's like, that sounds good, but I did promise Sansa that I would marry her, and that's kind of the way it's going to go. So, sorry and shit. And then Cersei's like, oh, well, I think that we could probably make an exception. That person that was brokered whenever we didn't know Ned was a traitor. You know, she's the daughter of a traitor. And again, I want to point out, Joffrey doesn't listen until a man steps up and says something.
That's right. Like, and but like, I was trying to figure out what it was, and then I'm like, okay, it's his mom talking to him, so he's just gonna whatever.
He will not listen to a woman.
And then, but I felt like, I don't know if it was Maester Pycelle. I felt like it was more of like just the religion aspect. I don't know if he was looking for an out, because like right whenever Maester Pycelle, no,
yeah, Pycelle,
said that, like he was like, oh, okay, the gods are good. Let me marry Marjorie now. And like, so it was instantaneous that he made that decision. It wasn't over the love of Sansa or anything that he was actually holding it for. It was either because he wanted to keep his word, because he felt that if you can't keep your word, then you're not a good king, or the religious aspect of that he made a holy promise. And like, those were the two things that were like, I think that was truly holding him back. But I don't know which one weighed more for him, or if they're both equal. Like, because it wasn't like, it is interesting that it is Maester Pycelle who does say something, and then he's like, okay. But I wonder if, like, say Littlefinger said something like non-religious sort of thing. I don't know, like it'd be advantageous, I don't know. I don't know. I guess what I'm looking for.
I'm with you, because Pycelle does make the religious argument. He does go, I've consulted with the High Septon.
Yeah, because I don't really take Joffrey as like a super, I don't know, like religious.
He's not. He's far from honorable, So that's my thing, is that I think he was saving face and looking for anything that was enough, like was good enough to convince the people he's fine.
Okay, I see. So he's still looking for an out, but he's like, he's 100%. Still like kind of like, all right, let me just not immediately divulge, and then look. Because
we've also already gotten, there was this thing in like, it was early in season 1 where Joffrey is like, he thinks Sansa's ugly. He is not into Sansa.
Oh,
he
really?
He's like, she is not. She is not. He looks at Marjorie and is like, oh yeah, mama. And who can blame him? Considering what she wears here.
What she said, she knows how to play the game well. Oh my God, she knows how to play the game.
They've taken root deep inside of me.
And then it shows Joffrey Marjorie. After that, and then he goes, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. So I mean,
she can play the game, and she's all like, she's got the deepest V and all the 7 kingdoms going on her dress. Like, she's rocking it. Okay. And I was damn close to picking Sophie Turner for the performance in this episode.
Yes, it was close. I know.
Whenever she's watching the whole thing, and you can kind of see like the hope spark in her eyes. She's like, "Oh, for the love of God, please end up marrying Marjorie. Yeah. Oh my God, please." Mm-hmm. And then she walks away all sad, and then she like can't help but just erupt into like giggles and smiles, and
but then has to immediately come back whenever Littlefinger comes up to her. She has to act sad again, so she's all happy, and then instantly turns it around and like.
Well, and then not only does she instantly, like Sophie Turner does a lot of great stuff in this scene where she goes from trying to conceal excitement and hope to letting it go to hiding it again and acting sad, and then over the course of that scene truly getting sad again. And it's like it was really, really good. And just the way Littlefinger points out that, oh, you think he's just going to let you go home now? Your brother's still fighting a war. You're still going to be his little plaything, you know, like, you don't just get to just go home. So I will make it my vow to you. I'll help you escape for the sake of your mother. You would remind me so much of her at her age. She was like a sister to me that I wanted to fuck.
Yeah, and now I will eventually try to marry you one day, right?
Yeah, like, Littlefinger's a weirdo.
It's just, is that what he's scheming right now? Is that that's what he's going for? Is like starting because he just got Harrenhal, and he's like, I guess I shall look for children and grandchildren. You know, I shall get some children and grandchildren.
I shall look for some sons and grandsons.
First thing he does is he goes to Sansa. Like it's. He's only, like, he does everything for himself, you know, like, he's a schemer, that's all he does. I feel like he's not going to Sansa out of the goodness of his heart. Partially it is because he loves her. It's out of love for him. It's weird love, but, like, I don't know. I feel like it's not actually to tell her, like, hey, watch out. It's more of, like, let me take you home, let me be your savior, and then you marry me.
No, he's planting seeds, you know, he's 10 steps ahead at all times. But yeah, that was just a brilliant fucking scene. What's crazy is I've got like a really focused, like there's one storyline that gets like all my favorites, which is kind of nuts because there is so much great stuff that happens in this episode.
I spread the love. But it's for sure that scene. That is the scene of the episode, and it's obvious. So like it's not wrong. My picks are just not number one. I feel like I wanted to spread the love this episode because I feel like it fits the same trope of every time we talk about like an episode 9 or 10 is we remember the big things that happened, but wow, was the whole rest of the episode just fucking stacked. Like we were in every location and everything that happened, it left me wanting more from that location next season, but also like, wow, this was such a great season for this character. Like they traveled so much, they went through like every single storyline, it was like complete, and it left you wanting more for next season. It's just beautifully crafted. But that scene in particular, I feel, I guess we'll get there. Maybe we'll save it because I don't know. Yeah. It's just that scene is the scene that everyone grips onto. Because that's where everyone, like, that's showing a vision in the future, dude. So, like, that's everyone's going to grip onto that. But,
No, yeah, 100%. But there is still one more thing in King's Landing when Roz is visited by Varys here, not realizing at first who she was until she reaches down to his nether regions and realizes there's nothing to grab onto. And she's like, oh, there's only one eunuch in the city. You're Varys.
Did she know? Or did that confirm her knowing that it's Varys and she suspected it at first, or was it really like, oh, there's nothing and now you're like now you have to be Varys sort of thing?
I think I don't know. I thought she seemed genuinely shocked. So it kind of struck me as she didn't realize he was Varys until then.
That's fair, because he's like, you're afraid. Why are you afraid? There's nothing dangerous down there.
Yeah, dude. Fucking love Varys in this too, and he's like, I love that he's trying to fish her away from Littlefinger, you know, getting her to admit that she's afraid of Littlefinger, and tells her that unlike her current employer, he protects those who work for him. Get a nice little tease that she might be informing on what's going on in Littlefinger's operation.
Oh yeah. I know Varys had a little line here. This is the weaker line. It's just because I really love Varys and I wanted him to get some love for this episode. But I forgot what was said before. But she figures out that it's him and it's like, oh my god, wow, no, I obviously know who you are. And then Varys says something to catch her off guard, and then he's like, well, I thought you knew who I was, sort of thing. Oh, it was like, about him knowing secrets or whatever. Like, how would you possibly know that? And he's like, "Oh, I thought you knew who I was."
Said you knew who I was. Yeah,
like and it's
like, what the fuck you thought it is, man?
And like, okay, I have this tangent on Varys, and I won't make it too long because it is crazy, and I don't. There's not much weight to it, but there's a theory that Varys is possibly a Targaryen, and that's the reason he is bald and doesn't have hair anywhere, is to hide the fact that he has Targaryen hair.
Name is Varys.
Like, he has a Targaryen name. He knows all of, like, his dick getting cut off. Like, the ritual or whatever could have been, like, usually those rituals need king's blood. Usually. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't talk about it. He's the master of secrets, master of whispers, but it doesn't seem that he has any secrets himself, unless the biggest one, that he is a Targaryen and that he would have the rightful claim to the throne, right now, sort of thing. Like, he's sort of the Aemon Targaryen at the Wall, keeping the realm in check from their position, like doing everything he can to do whatever, sort of thing. And it is interesting now. Like, every time Varys pops up on screen, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, and now I think of his intentions, and I'm like, because I guess there's a lot more lineage where I guess he would be Dany's. Would they be brother and sister? Like, would he be Varys or
Aerys?
Varys and no, who's the other? Who's Daenerys' actual brother?
Rhaegar
and
Viserys.
Viserys. Oh yes, Viserys and Varys. That's right. Okay, yeah. So, like, would they be brother and sister? I guess the father would have to be the Mad. Well, if they're brother and sister, okay.
If so, I guess brother and sister would have to be the Mad King.
I guess I don't know what the lineage was necessarily, but like,
I could see him being like a cousin. Or like
something.
Valerian.
Having like silver hair,
mm-hmm.
like something like, or like, I don't know.
Fact that like hiding his hair. Once your balls are cut off, you don't exactly produce a ton of hair after that. I think
is that for real?
Oh yeah, testosterone fuels hair growth. So like, that's why he's so cleanly bald, is because he doesn't grow hair.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think. Because, like, the books, they do, like, a really good job of explaining that he has hair nowhere. Like, not just his head. He has zero hair visible everywhere. And it's like, they suspect that he, like, was doing it to hide there was some character that was like, maybe he is hiding it if he's going to this length of shaving his armpits, shaving his, getting rid of every, but
maybe that's the case, but that's always been my understanding of, like, not necessarily hair on the top of the head, but facial hair. Like, he doesn't have eyebrows either.
Yeah, no.
Like, the man's, like, facial hair and arm hair and leg
hair. Hair, like, genetics and all of that, like, in Game of Thrones doesn't really make sense because, like, hair color is a strong indicator of blood in Game of Thrones, and like in real life, it doesn't matter. Like, you're really, like, it's, I mean, a little bit, but like, it's not to the degree that Game of Thrones has it. I guess if you're keeping the line as pure as they do, maybe technically, but I don't know. I just. Varys is such a cool character to me, and the only reason I was going into this is, like, I was thinking of my overall favorite character of the season, and Varys was kind of like a sleeper pick for me, just because of, I don't think I'm going to go with him. I know I'm not going to go with him, but I just looked in a little more on Varys of the season, and this is where people, like, that was the theory of the end of this season, is Varys a Targaryen, a hidden Targaryen.
I love that.
Sort of thing, so.
No, that's fantastic. But that does conclude the storyline in King's Landing, and it will take us to Dragonstone, where after his defeat at the Blackwater, Stannis Baratheon has retreated back to Dragonstone. And again, I almost went with Stephen Gillane for his performance as Stannis. Like, I was like, holy shit. Just like,
everyone
similar to Sophie Turner, where they only got one scene, but in that scene, wow, they did a lot of work.
Stannis' theme too is so good.
Good.
The deep, slow, just it builds suspense, and
it reminds me. Every time it reminds me of, like, the Emperor's theme in Return of the Jedi. Like, every time, and I think it's almost it's not like it's Stannis' theme, but I think it's more the Red Woman's. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's who you're
That's
supposed
true.
to key in on during those scenes.
That's true. And I almost feel bad for Stannis now. I never, I guess, really paid attention to him as closely as I did maybe in previous watches, but now I just like he's kind of just been manipulated.
Character.
Yeah, he's just been kind of manipulated by Melisandre, and like kind of just feel
not
bad
just manipulated by Melisandre. Melisandre does believe what she's saying.
That's true. But she knows but she believes what she's saying, but like eventually she pivots and goes to Jon, and Jon is the prince who is promised. Does she know that in her head is Stannis the prince who's promised right now, or does she know it's Jon already?
There's this thing in her where I think right now she still thinks it's Stannis.
Because she doesn't have the whole picture, she said. Like, I think she's not lying with that. She's like...
No, yeah, she's not. The thing is that at some point, because everything keeps going so wrong for who she aligns with, she begins to try and justify her faith by projecting it onto everybody.
It can't be wrong.
Like, you must be the prince who was promised. Oh my God, please, for the love of God, will you be the prince who was promised?
You have to be. Okay. That makes sense. Because, I mean, that's the thing, though. She predicts Stannis' life to a T here, though. You will betray everyone you love. You will kill your daughter. You know, you will let me burn her at the stake. You will, your wife. I think he kills. I don't know what happens to her. I think she dies too.
She kills herself.
Makes sense. I get, but like
after they burn the daughter at the stake, she kills herself.
Yeah. Like she predicts everything of Stannis' life to a T, but then there's also some stuff that's thrown in there while she's talking about Stannis where it like doesn't apply to him, and it is like
he'll betray his beliefs.
Jon, or like there's a few, like I think it is truly she does not know yet, because like she is throwing in like stuff that will happen to Jon later on.
Well, and not just stuff that will happen to Jon, stuff that happens to Jon in this episode. Betrays his men, kills a brother of the Night's Watch, betrays his beliefs, joins Lings.
Oh shit! It actually already happened. Wow, I didn't. Like, that's
at the
way
end
more.
Of this episode, it applies to him. By the end of this episode, it applies to him and by the end of next season, by the end of this show, he ends up joining the Wildlings. He betrays what he once held close as his beliefs.
That's his true
now
blood,
his family. Though. I don't think he betrays his. He kills Daenerys.
His actual family.
His family.
Yep.
Dude.
Is that the only family he's killed? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his only actual blood family, I guess.
That he kills, yeah. That he betrays in any way. It's Daenerys. So yeah, all those things apply to Jon. He betrays his men in killing Qhorin Halfhand by the end of this episode, his family by killing Daenerys at the end of the show, and his beliefs by going beyond the wall and joining the Wildlings.
Wow. That's... I don't know, but I don't know, like... Whenever she gets him to look into the fire, and he sees something, is that just... Is he in a place where he's low, and he's like... he sees what he wants to see, or is like Melisandre actually doing some shit to show him something?
No, I don't think that's necessarily it. Like the Hound has a moment like this later on.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I remember there was a Hound moment, but I felt like it was only Priestess by himself, though.
Yeah,
it was by himself.
Priestess isn't there when it happened.
Yeah.
So like, I think it is entirely like, I have the theory also in my own head that the Lord of Light is very heavily involved in getting things to happen the way they're quote unquote supposed to happen according to the Lord of Light. I think right now, like, I don't think Melisandre is wrong. I think right now the Lord of Light's like, Stannis is who you need to be fucking with. So go ahead and follow Stannis. I'll show Stannis what he needs to see so that he'll keep doing the thing he's supposed to do. Like, it's not like these, because gods, what the fuck? Like, they're not just going to be like, one thing is right and one thing only. No, they're manipulative as fuck by nature. Like, it's just what they do.
Yeah. I know. Okay. I mean, because that's the thing, is that there's no question that, like, a god or some godly presence exists, because there are resurrections, there are whole swords that are lit on
Rituals.
fires.
Yeah.
You know, and whole Dothraki swords are lit on fire. Like, there's no doubt about that. It is interesting that like I don't know, the prophecy is sort of, is it even a prophecy or is it just the gods, you know, doing what gods do? You know, I guess that's kind of what the prophecy is believed to be. It's the gods, you know, are doing, you know, whatever. But I don't know. It's crazy hearing these words in this season. I just know if I watched this show as it came out and like I watched this finale, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to pick apart everything this woman just said. I'm going to, you know, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying that now because I know what happens and she said everything to a T, you know, because I know everything, but,
I don't know, man. I
so
don't know.
Such a small scene, but sparks so much. Like off, and that's what I'm saying is that it was complete. It showed him after his defeat and show, you know, gave every, you know, like he was pissed at Melisandre, and that's kind of what you wanted. You were like, what the fuck? Like you promised me everything, and I led all my men to die, and you're like, wow, okay, Stannis, you're actually, you know, like you truly
And
did.
then him being like,
yeah,
like, I killed my brother, and she's like, we killed your brother. Share that with me. And he's like, he was not your brother. Like.
Nope.
He was my brother. I did that, you know, like
yeah, like I don't know. I really am feeling like he was really just in the thought that he was gonna win, and he was the prince who was. I don't know if is that what they say it is, the prince's promise? Is that what Melisandre says?
They haven't
or is
declared him that yet. He right now,
I feel like it's the knight or
he's like the warrior of light right now, or
something
whatever.
like that. Yeah.
I think, yeah, like that's as far as they've gone with it so far. I don't think they've settled on the prince who was promised yet. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered that with just a good, like, because it is just a discussion.
Yeah, that's it.
That they have.
That's all that happens, and then they look into the fire, and he's like, "Oh my fucking God, I see it," and that's it. I mean that leaves you guessing. That's for sure.
It does. But that takes us to the Westerlands, where King Robb Stark is speaking to his mother regarding his love affair with the woman Talisa, and Catelyn's like, yo, Walder's a dangerous man to cross. Like that's not a good choice. It's reckless. And Robb concludes that you know, his mother is in no position to call anyone reckless at this moment.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard like seeing them argue a little bit, you know? Like Robb's just, he's in a tough spot, you know? And he said like, my father's dead and the only other parent I have is not in a position to be reckless. Like he said it in a way that was like ruthless.
And the only
I don't know.
parent I have left is in no position to call anyone reckless. I think Richard Madden's got a really underrated voice, by the way. He's got like that man's kingly. He's like he's got a voice on him. But that part where Catelyn's like, me and your dad, we didn't love each other when we got married. That grew over years and years for you, for your siblings, for your brother and sister. And it's not as exciting as Secret Passions in the Woods, but it's stronger. And he's like, I'm gonna marry her tonight. Bye.
Yep. I don't know. I love the wedding was actually paralleled with Tyrion and
so much
Shay
about love happened right in a row here, where this Tyrion and Shay, Dany and Drogo, like all those things were kind of happening.
Oh, really? What, did it also happen that? Because I remember the transition from Shay and Tyrion went directly into Robb and Talisa's wedding.
I think the scene after that is Dany and Dany,
and then it goes to Karth. I think it goes back to wow. That's really cool.
Love is the death of duty. It's a common sentiment, and Robb gives in. Love is the death of duty for him when he decides to marry her. Tyrion, love is the death of duty when he chooses to. He doesn't give in. He chooses to stay instead of leaving. And Dany doesn't give in. Her duty is to find her fucking dragons. You know, Robb's the only one who gives in, and he dies in a season. You know.
Yeah, like, I think he dies. We already agreed that like he dies anyways. Even if he
no matter what
the Frey daughter, he still dies. Like
he's dying.
the Tyrion,
the flames are
Tywin,
going Ivan Drago in that hoe. If he
Yeah.
dies, he dies. You know.
Yeah, he's dead anyways. I think he probably just accelerated it a little bit, but it probably would have happened around the same time anyways.
Yeah,
Like the plan was already in effect, right? Like they didn't even know that he was marrying someone else before that plan went into effect, right? Or like was it actually
no?
let's do
this news
now.
spreads. Sometime in the next few episodes, we are going to see Tywin Lannister writing a letter, and that letter is going to Walder Frey to let him know, let's do this shit.
Wow. Is it like, hey Walt, hey Frey, actually Rob's fucking with this girl now, not your daughter, let's kill him? Or is it like, let's just kill him for the war?
There's also the fact that there's this line that Catelyn says where she says something about how if you can't keep your oaths, what makes you think that your followers will? And they all, like every single one of the lords that follows Rob, takes issue with the fact that he married Talisa. None of them like it. And it's actually Roose Bolton who turns on him and tells Tywin that he's married to Talisa. And then they formulate that as a...
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So no, it really was because of him. Like it really...
No, yeah,
like...
it's because of this decision. Yeah, like
Damn.
it's...
I don't know. Yeah, wow. Maybe it does. Maybe it actually does go differently.
I think it would. I tried to hold out hope that it wouldn't, but I really think it would because
I couldn't. He just kept her a secret for a little bit, won the war, and then he wouldn't have had to worry about the Lannisters killing him. And fuck, he would have been the king of the North at that time. And he could have done whatever the fuck he wanted. Fuck. Anyway,
fucking A. But we then go a little further east, where Brienne is traveling with Jaime. When they come upon the bodies of 3 women, again, almost went with another person for my character, but there's a storyline later that's just too damn strong that I couldn't do it. Almost went with Brienne Tarth because she's so fucking cool. I love Gwendolyn Christie being like, well, I'm going to bury them. You hang out here for a little bit. 3 Starkmen pulls up, and she's like, I love the way Jaime's like, this was done by Starkmen. You proud? You proud to serve the Starks? And she's like, I don't serve the Starks. I serve Lady Catelyn. And then she kills the fucking Starkmen, and he's like, those were Starkmen. And she's like, I fucking told you. Yeah. I don't serve the Starks.
Oh, yeah. No, I love how she's just getting made fun of the whole time, and then the Stark, soldiers come up and they just start laughing at her because she says that she's transported a prisoner, and they're like, are you kidding? Oh, you're doing that? You're not allowed to do that,
There's no fucking way.
And then she's like, "Are we done?" She's like, "Okay." Like I've gotten this.
I hope you gave them quick steps.
So much before, yeah, and like two of them
we did.
Yeah, 2 we did, and that's I love. She's so badass and not even trying. Like
and the way she kills that last dude, fucking gruesome.
I mean, she is not to be fucked with.
She is like that. Brienne of Tarth is the absolute
ranking beast. The top swords in Westeros.
Gotta be top 5.
Maybe
gotta be top 5.
Include Essos as well. I guess who in Essos would be included if so? Maybe Jack and Hagar. Maybe Jorah Mormont. I guess he's sort of he's kind of clean. He's dirt. I don't know. But I'd say it's more of like we got the
Dothraki Blood Rider, like that's nothing to scoff at.
We got Jaime, the Mountain, Tyrell, who's Loras. No, yeah, Loras.
I would also argue that Loras is a good tournament knight, but not hand-to-hand combat knight.
Okay. You're right. Out in the open world. Brienne's pretty up there.
You can't fuck with Brienne, man.
I feel like she's like top 3, dude. She's definitely top 5. She might be top 3 in the real world.
Oh yeah.
Barristan Selmy, he's still alive, I guess.
Yeah.
Barristan's still out there.
Think, off the top of my head, swordsman straight up with a sword. That's what we're talking about. Because Bronn's cold with that dagger, Arya's cold with a dagger.
Okay,
they ain't fucking with a broadsword for real.
Okay,
I'd go And Jamie's tough to beat, you know. So I'll go after he loses his hand. I'm going Barristan, Brienne of Tarth, Jon Snow. Top 3.
Dang. Oh, Brienne beats Jon Snow.
No,
That's a good fight.
In order.
That's a good fight. Okay, but just like, yeah, top 3 in the realm. Those are the 3 names to fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like most feared
if you're
names
getting
in the
into
realm.
a broadsword fight with one of those 3, you are fucked. It's guaranteed. You are dead.
Okay, yeah, Brienne. I don't know. I was trying to actually think of Brienne's power ranking earlier today, and I said I think she might be top 3. I said she's definitely top 5, but she might be top 3, and I do agree with that.
Another one who might crack that. I mean, like Jamie at this moment, I wish we would have gotten a chance. Like we actually do, but he's like shackled at the wrists whenever they do get a chance to fight for a little bit. So it's not exactly fair because she suns him then. She absolutely beats his ass at that point. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But man, a good start to their story though. Like,
yeah.
I love where they go.
Dude, and it's just like, that's the one, like, they rushed the shit out of the end. This is the one that will never sit right with me. It was too fast. It was too, nah, they just don't go that way. Like, it doesn't happen like that. They should have either left it to be it will never happen thing, or they should have let him stay with Brienne and let his sister die.
Yeah. Like Jamie actually finding love in the most unexpected place. You know, you have him at this episode. Jamie's like, you know, you wished you could have a guy stronger than you and actually tear off your clothes. And then he's like, well, I'm actually that guy. I could do that to you. And she goes, sorry, not interested. You know, and like it's the perfect start to their, you know, like, oh my God. Like,
I'm so fucking pissed. Like, I am okay with almost everything they do with that last season. Almost every single thing. I'm like, I can absolutely see where that came from. It is a little fast, but it makes sense. That's the one where I'm like, it's fast and it doesn't make sense. And there is a part of it that makes sense, but not considering the actions they take at the end of the story, do they justify? Like, they're completely contradictory and just ruin Jaime Lannister's development. Like,
Cersei and Jaime should not have died together.
No.
Like, they should have been as far apart. Like,
Jaime had made too much development to die at Cersei's side.
Yeah, I don't know.
When he decides to leave at the end of season 7, that's it. He should not die at her side. Like, that is yeah.
At least we have time to let this breathe, though. You know, at least we'll get them. We'll get them together. We'll get them in that bath, that hot spring. You know, later on.
But yeah, in the meantime, we'll head to Winterfell, where Theon Greyjoy is being besieged by a northern army under the command of Ramsay Sparrow. And Maester Luwin tells him that his chances of holding the castle with 20 men are not good. And again, Alfie Allen, another great performance out of him. I swear to God, I'm going to kill that motherfucker. The guy, God damn it. Just a whiny little bitch, perfectly. Thank you for explaining siege tactics to me, bald man. Like, I love when someone's so like flustered that they can't even come up with like good insults. It happens a couple times throughout this show, and him calling Maester Luwin a bald man is just funny.
Yeah, Maester Lewin's having fun. He's having fun back there.
The premiere one that I think of is in the Battle of Winterfell with the Hound. I can't remember exactly what he says, but I think he calls someone a whore in just the like completely wrong context. Like, there's no, like, he's just so overwhelmed. There's fire everywhere. Dead men are crawling up from out of the ground. He's like, we're all a bunch of dead whores or something like that. And it's just so like, it's so out of place, but it's because you're so flustered. You can't come up with the right thing to say. And, this is one of those times for me, with Theon. But Lewin's like, hey man, you can head to the Night's Watch. Like, this could be, and he's considering it. You know, he's like, he's like, oh shit, I can live. But then Jon would just fucking kill me. No, I can't do that. I think he'd rather go to the north after what happens. if I had to say so myself, it's either lose your ability to marry or lose your dick. And I think he knows which one he'd go with. If he knew those were the options.
Yeah. Hey, he gives at least he gives a somewhat good speech. You know, he kind of gets Tyrioned. He kind of gets Tyrioned here a little bit, but in this case, it's just like if Tyrion actually was tortured for the rest of his life and embarrassed, and so like that's the difference. Is the same thing happened to him? Well, no, actually, Tyrion went out in battle and won, and actually did good things in battle. Actually, never mind. He just gave a good speech and then got knocked out, and then instantly given to. Did they just give him to the Boltons?
Yeah.
Like straight up, they just
handed him over.
Went out there and like, here you go, and then they said that we can go home now. Like, right? Like they just went home free because like Rob said that anyone else, other than
everyone
Theon
else can go
killed.
home free, and they just keep Theon. Like, and that's what happens. They just give him to Ramsay. But there's this part in Alfie Allen's performance that I absolutely loved, in a huge character moment for Theon, where he goes, "Yes, my captors were so very kind of me. You love reminding me of that. Everyone in this frozen pile of shit has always loved reminding me of that. You know what it's like to be told how lucky you are to be someone's prisoner, to be told how much you owe them, and then to go back home to your real father, and then the horn blows and he goes, I will kill that man. I swear to the drowned god, the old gods, the new gods, to every fucking god in every fucking heaven, I will kill that man."
And he was so, like the way, like his body too, like he just saw his back and him like just pointing out of the window. Like, I don't know, he was just so mad and so frustrated. Like all you could do was kind of like laugh, but like feel bad for him at the same time. It's.
I love the speech he gives to the Ironborn here in a second. It's really good. Like,
it's good. It just doesn't apply to him though, is the thing. Everything he's saying, it's not true whatsoever. Even if they go out there and die, none of these things are going to come true. No, but the speech is bad at like.
We die today, brothers. We die bleeding from 100 wounds with arrows in our necks and spears in our guts. But our war cries will echo through eternity. They will sing about the battle of Winterfell until the Iron Islands have slipped beneath the waves. Every man, woman, and child will know who we are and how long we stood. Agar and Gelmar, Wex and Erzin, Stig and Blackmorin. Ironborn warriors will cry out our names as they leap onto shores of Seagard and Faircastle. Mothers will name their sons for us. Girls will think of us with their lovers inside them. And whoever kills that fucking hornblower will stand in bronze above the shores of Pike. What is dead may never die, and then he gets knocked the fuck out.
What is dead may never die. Bonk.
And then this is the
dude.
Yeah, this is. I told you there was an unnecessary death that came with this.
This is the dumbest shit ever.
Ruin. Pisses me off.
Did he die in the book some other way? And then they're just like, we have to kill him off here? Because,
I haven't finished book 2 yet.
Because he's like, what's going on here? And then just kill the old man. Like,
pisses me the fuck off.
I guess they're Ironborn, and like it's just what they do, and like they ransack it, and they they were gonna burn it.
Lewin's such a good guy.
I know. But it does give a really good scene at the Godswood though.
And that's our next one.
And it is why he is actually my favorite character of the episode.
Ooh, I love that.
I went through a lot, and it's probably, as character development goes, no. But as favorites of the episode, like the way he goes out, you're not gonna get
another chance.
Exactly. And I don't know. So I guess we're here. We get one Hodor here though, and it's a really sad kind of like Hodor, like I'm picking you up, I'll take you, away. It's a really sad, just a singular Hodor in this scene. But every scene at the Godswood, it's always good. It's always beautiful. The shots are always so
gorgeous out there. But Bran, Rickon, Osha, and Hodor emerge from their hiding place in Winterfell's crypts and find the castle burning. And they discover the dying Lewin in the Godswood, and he insists that the boys must go north to the wall. And Osha contests this. That's the wrong way. And he's like, we don't have any enemies. that way. We have enemies to the south. It's dangerous to go any other way. Jon will be able to keep you safe and tell your mother that you're alive. And Luwin affirms his pride at having served them and helped give birth to Bran and Rickon. And man, it was emotional. I was like tearing up over this.
Yeah, he said, I pulled both of you into this world, and I got to see both of your faces every day since. And I got to be I'm pretty damn lucky because of that. And I'm like, oh my God, like, damn, dude. And because Bran comes up and he's like, they burn it all down. Everything's gone. He's like, not everything, not you. And like he tells them like exactly what they needed to hear. He knows he's going out, and they're like, I don't want to leave you. And he's like, not any more than I want to leave you. Like everything he's saying is just like, man, you're
Perfect.
dying. And it's like, oh, you're such what a good guy. And he's like, all right, now go with
such a good guy, man.
And he's like, go with Hodor, and Osha, man. Can we, Osha,
I love Osha.
Man, she is just so much cooler on this watch than I've ever she's always been
so
cool.
Fucking cool. And she's
another
a good
concept,
chick, man.
Eat, live, she fucks.
Eat, drink, fucking live.
And live.
She does it all.
When does she die?
It's a couple seasons from now. It won't be till like season 6.
Okay. Yeah, she gets to, the hold the door. She goes all the way. Like up to north of the...
They split at some point, and she goes with Rickon, while Bran and Hodor go with Mira and
that's right. The other warding guy.
The other kids.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then Osha and Rickon get captured by Ramsay's people, and then so on and so forth.
Okay. But man.
But yeah, Osha gives him a nice, quick, clean death.
Yeah. Get you milk at the poppy. Just tell me where to find. He's like,
I don't want any of that shit.
No, I'm Maester Luwin.
Well,
just make it quick.
Is the only person who could have saved him was himself.
Yep.
There's nobody else there who can treat what happened to him, because he would be the one who treats this sort of thing.
He knows. He's like, there's nothing that can be done, and he's like, I know I'm dead. Winterfell's gone. To him, everyone who's there has gone and leaving, and the castle's kind of burned down. Walls are still there, but it's not his home anymore. And he's like, you know what? This is where he goes. But yeah, Maester Luwin, man, a real one. Like
a real one. I'm glad he got a character nod. So glad. But we continue in the Riverlands, where traveling away from Harrenhal, Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie cross paths with Jaqen H'ghar one more time, who has apparently been waiting for them. And Arya approaches him and is like, I need you to teach me how the fuck you did all that. Because that was nuts. She asks where she can learn his skills of killing and find a way to kill those on her list. And he's like, yeah, go to Braavos. Come with me.
Way across the narrow sea to Braavos. Arya immediately says, my dancing master's from Braavos.
And
to be a dancing master is a special thing, Jaqen H'ghar says.
Yeah.
To be a dancing master is a special thing. Like, what? Like, come on, dude. No, it's him. It's him, or it's Quaithe. And that's the other... It's both. It's both of them working in tandem together. He was a faceless man. It might not be Jaqen H'ghar, necessarily, or, that one. So, when he takes his face off, is that the real?
There is no real.
But Arya, when she takes her face, she just goes back to Arya, But is this like the actual, like, faceless god that we're, like, dealing with? Or, like, because they just put on a face, It's just a real person that is eventually no one, right? Or is it, like, actually is Jaqen like some entity? Like,
I think he's just a dude who's a part of the Faceless Men.
Yeah, and this is the dude. This would be his real dude form,
I don't think there's any way to know that. because we've also seen people like remove face after face. You know, like we've watched them.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so it's not just one mask that you put on and then like.
No, yeah, there's no
so
real
you can have
telling what this
multiple.
guy
So
actually looks like.
That's not his base. Yeah, there's no way to know that that's his base layer,
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
if you think of it that way. Like an onion, just peeling back all the layers.
Because he trains Arya the entire time in his jockin face. You know, like there seems to be an implication that he actually doesn't take off a face; he put on a face when he looked away. You know, it's not that he took it off to reveal another face; it's that he put one on and looked differently.
I never thought. Okay, I didn't think of it that way. I thought he was taking off the jackin face, but he just put on that guy
because he tells her, you know, Jockin's dead.
Yeah.
And then not only that, he bids her goodbye and says, "Goodbye, Arya Stark." He had never did she tell him that she's Arya Stark. That was never revealed to him.
Oh, then he
is the fucking dancing master, man. Okay. He was the first Sword of Bravos, guarantee. And that was the detail that locked it in for me. I was like,
Stark. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had never told him that she was Arya Stark.
Farewell, Arya Stark. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the one that confirms it for me. And yep, gives her the coin, Valar Morghulis. And you'll be taken to the House of Black and White over in Bravos. So good luck, deuces. Love.
Yeah, a man's got duties too. A man's got duties too. See you later. We'll meet again. I'll teach you the ways to kill the Night King eventually.
Get you on the flip, Arya.
Man, Jack, and so he almost got the season character nod just because he's just that cool.
It's a great introduction to his character. Yeah,
and I think if it was favorites of just guys who he's kind of like Danny Phantom almost, where I just have like this man crush on him just for how cool and badass he is. Like I want to be Jack and Hagar in Game of Thrones. If I could insert myself in Game of Thrones, I want to be Jack and Hagar. So I don't know. He's just so cool. But won't get it. But he is just that cool.
I wouldn't blame you one bit if he did get it, you know?
Is it that out there? Is it actually that? You know, I guess...
Well, I think I'm of the mind there's undoubtedly a character of the season.
That is fair. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to be in my head too much. You know?
I get that.
Because I know who my favorite... Like, I already knew going into it. I needed to see if anyone else challenged him.
No, yeah, I would say I would accept Jockin. Jockin's a fair one, but Tyrion dominated this season. There's zero doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean,
but next up, we are in Karth, where Daenerys arrives at the House of the Undying, and goes in a circle. Not like a normal circle. It's like a freaky circle. You know?
This is like the same thing.
Yeah, to quote Korg from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like a normal circle. It's like a freaky circle.
It was a freaky circle.
And then this is where we actually got the Jorah Mormont Khaleesi.
Yeah.
I fucking love him yelling Khaleesi. For some reason, it is so funny to me when he yells it.
It was funny. Yeah, you're right. It was funny.
Khaleesi! Like it's
because like the way he looks at like the Dothraki like guy for a set, you know.
And the Dothraki dude's like, what?
And then he like kind of charges up, you know. He like Khaleesi! Yeah, he like I don't. He looks.
Dude, it's outstanding. It's outstanding.
Did you, by chance, watch the director's cut at the end of this episode?
I did not.
There's a little bit that they had with Emilia Clarke whenever she first enters the like temple, whatever you want to call it, and she picks up the torch. Where she like screams at him. She's like, "Are you afraid of a little girl? You're not even going to show your face." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, why didn't you include that? It was like that was so good. They just had it in like the beginning of the director's cut, and then like it wasn't in the actual episode. I'm like,
that's in the episode.
It was.
It was in the episode I watched.
Because maybe on Blu-ray it's like, do they have like an extended?
I don't
Because
know.
like on Max, she picks up the torch and just walks and it cuts.
Oh yeah, no, on the Blu-ray at least, she picks up the torch and goes, are you scared of a little girl? You don't want to like that line delivery made me go, Emilia Clarke gets my performance.
Wow, yeah, because that's what I was saying. I'm like, oh my god, this would have been so much. Like, she already did so great in The Vision, I think, just with like Khal Drogo,
right,
you know, like alone. But then I'm like, man, I got this, and I'm like, man, she did this too. Because man, I don't know, maybe
that was on the
maybe
Blu-ray
I missed
at least.
maybe I missed it in the episode, but I don't think.
No,
I
yeah.
swear, I don't think
If
I
she
did.
just picked up the torch and walked in, then I think it's not a part of that. Not a part of the streaming version, which is weird. But yeah, she finds herself in an empty circular room with many doors, and she chooses one and opens it. And there we see her in a throne room that is seemingly snowy. But if we know anything about the shot framing here, also perfectly mirrors at the whenever she's approaching the throne in season 8, episode 6. She reaches out to touch it and doesn't quite do it. It's the exact same.
And the thing that gets her, like, I don't know if are they trying to, like, she's reaching for it, she's so close, but then the thing that gets her to leave were her dragons. You know, are they trying to say that like her dragons are her downfall? You know, like she will get so close, you know, to her goal. Like, I think that's the imagery, you know, is like her touching the Iron Throne. If she gets there, you know, that's her winning, her success,
right?
You know, what she wants. But the thing that gets her to draw away at the last second was her dragons, you know, and leave for them. And I guess, like, you know, if you want to think, I guess, in a big scope of it, like, her dragons gave her the power to wipe out entire cities. And, you know, maybe if she didn't have that power and could sit on her decisions a little longer and not just immediately be able to kill an entire city if she wanted to, maybe, you know, things would have gone a little differently. And she, you know, but like, I don't know.
I think it also goes back to that love is the death of duty thing. Because what pulls her away is she goes to see Drogo as she walks out of the walls. And that's another thing, the imagery there. Who's beyond the wall right now? Jon fucking Snow, you know, like I think they're pointing her in a direction as to what her future is, and like
yeah, I see.
And
because I guess the reason I thought it was her dragon's pointer is just like you hear them screech in the background, but I guess I didn't think of what she literally walks, like where she actually goes right when she leaves the throne, and it is
like the dragons pull her away, but I don't think that was necessarily saying anything in that moment. I think it's more like what the vision leads her to is what they're talking about.
The wall being at the throne room, you know, like leads you to believe that the Night King got all the way down to King's Landing. You know, like they're that close, you know, in winter it's snowing there. You know, I guess maybe it's more of like the fire will go out and Jon, the snow, the ice, you know, will live on. You know, Bran is the one who sits there at the end and they're all cold and
there's also the fact that literally when we
does it actually snow in there?
It's snowing and it's also ash. It's not
actually like actual snow. Oh, that's right.
Winter.
That's right. It actually, but the Night King's dead. But the Night King's dead at that point, right?
Yeah, it's still winter though. Like
so, yeah. But I guess like the whole imagery of winter arriving someplace is the Night King getting there. You know, not just winter. I think necessarily like winter is the Night King's force. I feel like how his reach is. Well, no, because they do have just winters it's the long night, the long winter.
And that's what I'm saying is that in the finale,
it is just seasonally winter.
Yeah, the city is covered in ash and snow. Yeah. You know, like Drogon is like covered in snow when Jon approaches the throne room.
Oh, that is right. Yeah, it is definitely snowing. Yeah.
So.
In the Thrones universe, like, because I guess the reason it is snowing in King's Landing is because the Night King actually did come a little south of the wall and like actually bring winter with him right a little bit, or was it just like winter would have came anyways?
Confirmation just a couple episodes back when they were talking about provisions for when winter came. Like they were talking about crops in King's Landing and like how are they going to feed everybody and like
True.
so it's at least going to get freaking cold. You know,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, okay, I guess I found in the episode. I'm right here when she enters the temple. I'm hearing
Khaleesi!
I just heard Khaleesi, which is great. But I swear, she grabs the torch, and you hear Jorah in the background. Khaleesi, she looks around. Oh, never mind. I guess I just completely missed it.
Huh.
Wow, I don't know where my head was at, but I swore in the director's cut. I'm like, man, I didn't see that.
No, yeah, it happens. It happens.
Glad I caught it in the director's cut then.
Yeah, right.
She got my performance nod anyways. Without it. So.
Of this next scene, whenever she arrived into a tent to find Drogo, and what would have been her infant son Rhaego, with very dark hair, taking after his father, I should say. They talk about whose dream they are in. Is it mine? Is it yours? You know, is this real? What's going on? He goes, I should
kill the man that tries to wake me if this is my dream. Well,
and there's this really interesting thing where this isn't this is Pyat Pri, the warlock, trying to get her to stay. This is what Daenerys wishes Khal Drogo was, but never really was, you know? Drogo was a good, by the end of their relationship, by the time he died, they'd come around very much so, but he wasn't poetic. He wasn't like, you know.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know, what was Pyat Pri's true goal here?
So what he says is that the dragons, that his magic came back when the dragons were born again.
Mm-hmm.
His magic is strongest with the dragons in their presence. And the dragons are strongest with their mother in their presence. So if he can get her to be comfortable staying in the vision, not breaking her will, like if that's he's trying to entice her to stay in that tent with Drogo and her kid and just live the rest of her days.
So it's of her own, it's because she lets him go that she can actually wake up, snap out of it, and oh my god, that makes it so much better.
It's a fantastic scene. Like it is so fucking good.
Wow, I didn't really. I thought it was just. I guess in my mind, I thought like obviously the Pyat Pri is making her see this sort of thing, but I didn't know that he had like control over it. I guess I really didn't have that idea. I thought that this was just kind of like a vision that Daenerys is seeing because but he has no control. It's just like. This is what Daenerys is going to see.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's necessarily like Pyat can like puppet Drogo or anything. I think it's just like he can. That's why I think it's important that this is kind of an idealized version of Drogo. It's Daenerys's ideal life. Like,
wait a minute, how the fuck do they know that the Iron Throne is? How the fuck is that a thing?
Right.
How is that? How does Pyat Pri know that? That's why, like, Daenerys, like, this is the dreamer aspect of Targaryens to me. This is their magical whatever.
Well, okay, now, like I'm saying, if this is feeding on her deepest wants and desires, from right now, she wants to tear down King's Landing. You know?
Oh, no, dude, that's what I was going to say, is that from this season, everyone's always of the mind, like, I can't believe Daenerys went down that line. She went so crazy out of nowhere. Right now, she's that fiery. She's that kill. She just locked the King of Karth in a cage, like, locked him in there to starve to death for good. She burnt the fucking Pyat Pri to death, and then she ransacked all of Karth, took all their gold and everything to buy shit. Like, she's already, like, just being...
She's like that. You know?
And already like that. Yeah, and this is season 2. This, like... So it's
And
already
again, it goes back to that dialogue, that monologue that Tyrion gives later. You know, she does all these things to terrible people, and who can blame her? Because, like, of course she'd do that to terrible people. But at some point when she snaps, it's got to be like, well, yeah, we cheered her on every other time she did it. So, like, what are you gonna do?
Yep.
But yeah, you know, my favorite line came from this scene. This scene was also my favorite scene. There's just no doubt about it. I love these are questions for men with small arms. That's not my line, but I love that. My favorite line is actually, maybe I told the great stallion to go fuck himself and came back to wait for you.
That was pretty badass. Yeah, I guess I did have 3 lines. My other one was Dracarys. Just right here. I mean, she's in chains, you know, she doesn't have to do it. You know, all of her power is her dragons. Like that's what this scene is showing perfectly. Like, she doesn't need to do a thing. She just needs to say one word. And like, as long as she has her dragons, she has her power. And like, them to get like, and Pirate Priest saying like, and they are strongest with you though. Also, like, that is, the dragons don't know what to do on their own.
Right.
You know, they are just they're just dragons, and they'll eat and they'll be strong, they'll survive. But they don't have the vision, you know, that Daenerys has, or they don't have the spark, the fire, the figurative fire that Daenerys has.
Right.
So like that, it does make sense that they are stronger together.
Dude, and I love whenever she gives the line Dracarys and then burns his ass alive. That's it.
Oh, and like just the little spit on his arm, he's like, "Oh shit!" Like fuck.
I love the way she's like chained at the wrists, and she's like almost like gaining power from it. Like the way that she like looks up and is like, "Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be."
I think it would have been sick. Like again, and it's I don't want to seem like just to burn her clothes or whatever, but like just whenever they show that she can't be burned, it's so. Like, powerful. It's just so powerful, like, even more powerful. If like, some of the wildfire, like, would have splashed on her back or something like that and gotten on her, and then she's just still, like, unfazed. Right. You know, like, completely just, like unfazed by dragon. Like, I don't know, that would just be...
badass.
Like,
no, what I also love is that this is another finale that is... It doesn't conclude with this scene, but... The big thing in the finale of season 1 is her dragons are born. One of the biggest things in the finale of season 2 is that her dragons can now burn people alive. You know, like that's huge. Game changer.
The game has changed. Yeah, the game has changed. They are not just cats in a cage any longer. They are killing machines. Yeah, not necessarily killing machines yet, but very capable.
Can be. They have that potential.
Very capable. But I don't know. You know, what do they right after burning Pirate Pri? Does she go straight to Zaro's room? Like that's where she goes straight.
That is the next thing.
And they swipe. They just swoop. Take the necklace like right off him.
The necklace right off him. You got Dorea in the bed, which is really disappointing. You know, Dorea.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, what a betrayal there.
Yeah, like, man, what the fuck? Well, and it explains why she wasn't dead in the room with like Amy and stuff.
Yeah, and her reasoning was like, he said that you wouldn't make it out of the city alive. Yeah, like
that helps.
Yeah, like thank you.
Like, yeah.
So he told you that I was even more dead. You know, or whatever.
Like, cool, I'll join you. That sounds cool. It sounds like a plan. Doesn't help your case a lot, Dorea. But she takes his key and uses it to open his Valyrian stone vault, and she is surprised to find it empty. And then they just calmly usher Dorea and Zaro into the fucking door. And the way Dorea is screaming, this is one of those things that makes you go, okay. Daenerys is like a little, and like, okay, it's hard to not respond like, well, maybe I should.
Maybe Zaro, I understand.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing, is that she was so loyal to her and then betrayed her like that. You know? So it is kind of like, you know what? You did this to yourself sort of thing. I don't know. But maybe
that just shows what her approach to that sort of thing is. It doesn't matter how much loyalty you showed or how good you might have been to her or anything. Like you do once you cross me, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, you know what? No. Shay's getting the line. I thought I was going to go with Dracarys.
You're going with eat, drink, fucking live?
I like it too much. I think it's... I like... It creates a perfect checklist, for... Just to
for
see
an ideal life.
I dig it. And it came... Shay got a line. Look at that. I don't know. I would not have expected that.
Look at that.
I guess... She's good now. That's the thing. It's like I'll at least like their love story now a little bit while I can.
While you still can.
So, and man, I was kind of going back and forth between Tyrion waking up and everything that happened to Tyrion. From like Maester Pycelle, Maester Pycelle to Shay. Because there a lot did kind of happen there. Maester Pycelle, Varys, and Shay. Or I was actually thinking of going with Stannis and Melisandre. They're seen at Dragonstone. Right. I really think, I don't know, for the obvious scene to go with is Daenerys and her vision and oh my god, I was at the edge of my seat and I'm looking for every detail.
Yeah, I was looking for anything else. I was looking for
exactly.
Maybe Robb and Talisa's wedding, maybe these things, but it's just not. It is just Dany's vision.
No, it's tough. It's tough to go with I don't know. I guess the scene, we already have Dany's vision. You got it over there. I think Stannis doesn't get enough love, and Melisandre and that theme. I don't know. His performance, both of their performances were actually really good. Stannis knocked it out of the park.
I don't know if you want to take this approach to it. For my scene of the season, I didn't go with the scene that I put on any of my favorites for the episode.
Oh,
I went with a completely different scene that also happened.
I was going to ask you how you're thinking about. Is that just kind of overall, just your favorite singular scene?
I think because it's kind of what encapsulates because I'm not necessarily going with what my favorite scene of the season was, what made me feel the best. It's just kind of when I look back on season 2, my first time watching it, what made me go, oh fuck yes, we are here, we're really doing it, let's get it. And we're almost there. It happens later on in this episode. It actually ends this episode.
Okay. Yeah, because I haven't chosen any of my overall favorites yet, but I think character, it makes sense to just character, I think it's pretty easy. It's just
what character stood out?
Tyrion, just for me, it's obviously Tyrion. That was the only one where I'm oh, for sure. But performance is kind of, am I thinking of it as just their entire arc on, of the season, how they did performance wise, or is it just if they had a singular standout that was so good, do they get the overall,
I'd say that's up to you, man. I went with more just the who as a performer throughout this season elevated above everyone else. Who did I just end up going back to wow, they did so fucking good. And for me, that one was obvious. But we will get there. After they lock them up, they go ahead and seize all the assets of Karth. Jorah announces to the Dothraki, "Seize all the golden jewels. Let's get out of here." And
that's what they wanted to do. Offer, they were so confused. Why can't I take this? Wait, what? I can't.
Now you can.
Yeah, and they're thank God, finally. They'll get a small ship, I guess, for this. That's
small ship.
Yeah, that's what they get. Where do they go? Where does Dany go next?
It's Marine, maybe. Still Essos though. We don't go anywhere too far.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
because I think next she's heading to places to see where she can buy ships. She doesn't buy the ship and then see where she can go. It's kind of the other way around. But we do then head beyond the wall to finish off the episode, where Jon Snow and Corran are marched towards the camp of the king beyond the wall. Mance Rayder. And Corran realizes at this point, this is it. This is going to have to be the place that this happens. And you were right. I didn't remember that there is never an express discussion about this.
Jon is so taken by surprise by all of it. And he's trying not to kill him the whole time. I think Jon, that's the thing, is that they're impressed that Jon killed him. I think Jon could have killed him at any moment, really. Like, Jon wasn't trying to kill him until, like, the very end, when he's like, okay, you just called my mother a whore. Now you done did it, you know, sort of thing.
No,
like,
that's the other thing that I didn't realize. Jon kills this man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not a
knowing.
Like,
no.
Not a make it look real sort of thing.
He legitimately just
and murders this guy.
He pissed him off to the point where he knew Jon would actually kill him. It wasn't like,
well, and we've seen this potential in him already too, because he tries to do this to Alistair Thorne when he calls him out for being a bastard and talks shit on his mom. And
yeah, that's true.
Would have killed Alistair Thorne in that moment, as we now know. Jon just kills this guy, like, straight up. But again, just Jon and Ygritte, like, can't fucking wait to see more that happens there. And I love the way they, like, cut them free and, like, toss them a sword, and they're like, yeah, get after it. Let's see what happens here.
They were like, oh, that's the man that, because they were, who did he kill? I don't know, because after Jon kills him, they're like, oh, that's the man that killed
Qhorin Halfhand.
Yeah, Qhorin Halfhand, and they're like, oh, well, all right, you're actually kind of badass,
cut them
Jon.
Free, and they're like, let's do this shit, man. I trust you.
Yeah, like that's kind of sick.
But again, that thing that Melisandre said, applying to him, killing his men, betraying his beliefs.
Yeah,
like that's, and I mean, like, killing his family, brothers of the Night's Watch. That's like what they're.
There you go. Yeah,
true.
Like,
all the things happen here. Man, I can't believe I've never put that together before until this watch. Like, that's a pretty crazy. That feels blatant now that I think about it.
Yeah, she's speaking to Stannis, and I thought that, like, some of the stuff was applying to Jon, like, long term Jon,
and it does
storyline, and it does.
At the very end of this,
literally,
this season. Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
That's really cool. Yeah, man, I love that. But by killing Qhorin, he's gained their trust, and they cut him free. And Ygritte's like, yeah, check this shit out. Look at that. Look at this giant fucking army.
Not too bad for us, huh? Yeah, not what you were expecting, probably.
Time to meet the king beyond the wall. Let's go, Jon.
This is Jon's, like, I don't know, this is where he comes from. This is his, like, true blood. This is, like, his true home.
These are his people, you know?
Yeah. And I love that he can't get, he's a Targaryen, but, like, he gets burned. He likes the cold. He is
of ice. Yeah.
Well,
again, like, this is another really cool little, I don't know if this is intentional, but, like, it feels like it now. Rhaego showing up earlier in this episode, being dark of hair, not taking after the Targaryen and his family, and it's. I feel like there's a lot of stuff here that's, like, really foreshadowing the shit out of Jon, and, like, I really, really like that.
What if that's not Rhaego?
Oh, what if that is Jon?
What if that's Aegon the 8th?
Yeah, or 7th, or 6th, or whatever the fuck.
Because Jon's Aegon the
6th or 7th.
6th? I think he's the 6th. Whatever. Because I don't know, was Daenerys? Was it? Because they fucked, but it was never, like, confirmed that she had a baby in her, or, like, was it? Did she have a baby?
Yeah, never confirmed. No,
but they fucked. They fucked.
Oh yeah,
there could have been.
There could have been something there.
Because that's the thing. Did Jon just stab Daenerys, or did he also stab a kid that he probably wouldn't have wanted? Actually, probably, now that he knows who Daenerys is. It's kind of, I don't.
We shall never know. Unless, of course, Daenerys is revived wherever Drogon is taking her.
That's, I mean, not that far out there. Like, Jon fucking was Jon was just resurrected because he's that important. Yeah. Daenerys is, I don't know. I don't.
I think there's something there. But after this, we conclude the episode with what is my favorite scene of the season, and what gets me the most hype for just the future of the show is at the Fist of the First Men. Sam, Gren, and Ed are foraging for fuel in the way of scat shit. They're looking anywhere you have to burn shit is it's bad. And they hear one call. They're like, "Oh, cool! They're returning. It's Qhorin and Jon. Yay!" Second blast. It's the fucking wildlings. They all get ready. Dude, and I remember the first time I heard that third blast being like, just chills and like,
Oh, like
shit.
we were told what that meant. We
Yes,
know what that
yes.
means, and it's never happened. They're like, oh, it's never happened before.
And then
What are you
Dolores
talking
Ed
about?
just going, run! And then Sam being left behind, caught in a blizzard. And then hiding behind a rock as he watches dozens of whites walk past, being led by a White Walker riding an undead horse as Sam cowers in fear.
So this guy sees Sam, looks at him, screams, moves on, doesn't kill him, just leaves him there. I guess they are the in my mind the Night King and White Walkers. Like, I feel like there's a lot more that we don't see. I feel like they have like a whole civilization sort of thing, and they're like misunderstood, sort of thing. Like, we don't know their whole story. I don't know, but like they have some consciousness to them. They're not just killing they're not just zombies just going out there to kill. Like, I don't think that they're just mindless killing machines. And like in my head, the only reason to leave Sam alive is, one, they know that this dude is not a threat whatsoever. Like, obviously, like, okay. And if we wanted to kill him, we can. And he's just one more to our already massive army. Yeah. So, like, it's really not anything. It's if they somehow know that he is, like, a maester or, like, gonna become one, somehow. So they know that he will spread the word of the Night King and of their forces. And, like, because I guess, I don't know, like, would they want people to know about them? Do they want the fear known, or would they rather be an unknown force and come in and just wreck everyone?
Well, I think they've set a precedent for wanting
the
survivors to know. Yeah,
all the symbols and stuff. That's why they do it. It's just fear.
And they also that like a White Walker cut off a dude's head and tossed it at the feet of another guy and was like,
"That's true.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
tell them what happened here."
You're right. Yeah. So is this their way of being like, go back and tell them that you just saw me ride up on a dead horse, in a massive herd of undead walk?
Yeah, I think it's just a way to be like, we're that not afraid of you. We want you to know we're coming, and we'll win anyway.
And they don't come back until. When does John fight him at the wall, like beyond the wall, and like he's
Season 5?
God damn, that's such a long time to wait.
We do see some stuff with them in the meantime, because I believe the Night King shows up in season 4 for the first time.
Yeah, there's something going on with the Night King that, like, I just want these books. God, like, if it's written into his will. I want it to be.
The Night King is a show original character. He's not in the book.
Yes, that's true. But there's a lot of similarities between like the lineage. Like, I guess the part of the story that I'm most intrigued by is like where does the line from John and Bran go back to? All the way back to. Is it the night? The book version. The King's Knight, or what's he called in the book?
I can't even remember.
It's, but like the theory is that that's the blood of the first men. The Starks have the blood of the first men, and the Night King. It's like the whole story of the Night King is the whole story of like I don't know. It's the story that keeps looping over and over and over, and stuff. I don't know. It's just that's the more, I guess, line that I'm interested in, and not just like his powers or stuff like that. It's more of like how it all connects, I guess, and like if this prophecy and all this stuff is true, or like if they do have this hidden civilization thing to them,
right?
Because what's more north? We don't ever go north. I feel like there's even more north. There's a place that we have never seen. Like, I feel like the camp that we just saw for the wildlings, there's a White Walker equivalent to that somewhere else.
Right.
But I don't know. that's a good, like, to get hype for next season, though. I mean, they don't really... Do they really focus on it at all next season, though, the White Walkers? I feel like they kind of just forget about it. Like, I don't know, is it really, like, that leaning of a threat, like, when you come into Season 3? Like, because it's the end of the season, and they're like, hey, they're coming, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it's just they just keep threading them in here. Like, yep, that might come around again. You got, like, this is a background threat the whole fucking time.
It's just the Thanos, I guess. They're laying the
Yeah.
seeds. Yeah, they're planting the seeds. But man, okay. I think I was, during that whole time, I was thinking of kind of my favorite scene overall. And I was trying to see if anything beat the Battle of Blackwater. Like, and that's the thing. I can't really just, how do I say the Battle of Blackwater? You know, there's so many things that happened during that. If I had to limit it, I'll just say the explosion. The actual explosion, and seeing everyone's reactions to the explosion. But I don't know, that's, if I look at Season 2, you know, I'm pulling out something, that's the first thing I'm thinking of, is the Battle of Blackwater.
I dig it. Yeah, mine's this one, the three horns blowing. I remember being like, "Oh yeah, this is on." For my line, I'm actually going with "You Know Nothing," Jon Snow, just because it's a classic, undisputed.
Yeah. Line. Oh, you know what? I'll go with Dracarys there.
Nice
for the overall line, because that I mean, come on,
the first real Dracarys.
Yeah. Yeah, and it felt good too. Pyat him dying. Oh man, I wanted him to die so bad. So yeah, it's a good death too.
And it looks like we're on the same page for character of the season here, and Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give it to anyone else. Like I on this the whole rewatch, Tyrion is the overall for season 1 and 2 for me. Like Tyrion is just, in this season especially, he came into his own. And he is like, I don't know, he's so much more of an interesting character than he already was. So yeah, I had to go with Tyrion, but performance is where I mean, there is, like, I guess if you wanted to just say who yours is real quick.
Yeah, I went where the numbers showed me. For 4 out of the 10 episodes in season 2, I went with Lena Headey as Cersei Lannister, and I can't ignore that. You know, I think I have to go with that as a result of it.
She had so much range this season,
dude. Like, she did fucking incredible.
So yeah, I was. There's no way. I think it just has to be, like, the only other contender for, like, the overall season, I'd say it would be like Emilia Clarke, maybe Sophie Turner. But no one comes to Lena Headey's, I guess, caliber this season. Yeah, I don't know. I can't give it to anyone else. Yeah, wow. 2 Lannisters. So 50% Lannister. Wow, I got like 75% Lannister. I got the Blackwater. My scene, performance, and character are all Lannisters, but I got Dany for the line. And you got a Wildling for your line, and you got 50% in the North, 50% in King's Landing. That's pretty sick.
Pretty strong there.
Dang, you really got the Song of Ice and Fire there. But, you know, I don't know. Wow. I didn't think... I thought choosing my favorites for the overall season would be a lot harder than that. But Tyrion is kind of obvious. Lena Headey's kind of obvious. Dracarys feels obvious now that I didn't go with it for my line this episode. And then Blackwater. I mean, that... I just kind of knew going in Blackwater was probably going to win, but it felt too obvious. I don't know. That one felt too obvious a little bit. Like I wanted to give it to something else, but there's a reason that's episode 9 for this season.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel comfortable with mine now. Overall, we got 5 Hodors this season total. That's one more than last season, but we did get his penis last season. So if you count the 4 Hodors plus the penis, I guess that's 5 Hodor things. But 5 actual Hodors this season. And Arya's kill list, I guess no names are crossed off. Ilan Payne's still alive. Everyone on the list is still alive. I believe. And I guess Jackin is like, hey, you could do your list and more. I'll teach you the ways. Like, yeah, I'll teach you the ways. So, but no one crossed off. But we got a lot of progression of Arya for the kill list tracker or whatever. But I guess are we ready to rate the finale and then the season?
Yeah, let's rate the finale. Here, let me give away some stats here.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're
about our favorite characters and favorite performances through the first 2 seasons. At the top of the list for favorite characters in total between us two, I left Tavares out of this because he's only joined us for 6 episodes in total, and 46 options is just not as sexy as 40 options. So, out of 40 selections total, 20 for each of us over the course of 2 seasons, Tyrion has gotten 8. He's gotten 1/5 of the favorite character nominations so far between the 2 of us.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them come from me. Yeah.
Yes, because I've only put him for my favorite, I think, 3 times.
1, 2, 3, 4. Counting the overall or no?
No, not counting the overall. Just episode.
I guess
episode.
I have 4.
5-3 split.
Yeah. Okay. Not that bad. Wait, I only have 4.
You only have 4
for Tyrion. I think
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5. The pilot. You picked him in the first episode.
Oh, season 1. Okay, there it is. I didn't see him all the way up there. I didn't scroll. I didn't think for some reason I didn't think he was the pilot. Okay.
Yeah, so Tyrion's got 8 out of 40. Coming up in second there is Ned and Dany, tied for 5. Ned Stark and Daenerys Targaryen are tied for 5 selections there. Jon Snow's gotten 3. Robb Stark's gotten 3. The Hound has gotten 3.
Hey! Okay, Hound. He deserves it, though.
Tied for third there, the Hound. And with all the two selections are Cersei Lannister, Ygritte, and Arya Stark. They've all gotten 2. And then all the ones are Yoren, Yara, Jorah, Littlefinger, Jaqen, Varys, and Luwin. So we got a bunch of fun ones there in the one episode.
Kind of a good tier list, like automatic. Like it kind of made a tier list of like
all unto its own
characters. Like already. Wow, that just made sense as you were listing them off.
Yeah. So top 1 is Tyrion. He's got 8 out of the 40. And then performance wise, topping it off with 1/5 once again, Emilia Clarke as Daenerys Targaryen. She's gotten 8 out of the 40. And then flipping it on its head, Peter Dinklage and Sean Bean got 5 each. So where the characters were the case, it was 8, 5, and 5 for Tyrion, Daenerys, Ned. Now it's Daenerys, Tyrion, Ned for the 8, 5, and 5. And there's another 5 with Lena Headey as Cersei. And I've gotten her 4 of those. So clearly heavily in my favor there. Michelle Fairley.
I think on the other ones though, like I was spreading the love on some where she obviously got it. So her number is actually deflated.
Right.
So
so Lena Headey got 5. There's only one actress who's gotten 3, and it was Michelle Fairley as Catelyn Stark. So that's the top 5 there. And Emilia Clarke, Peter Dinklage, Sean Bean, Lena Headey, and Michelle Fairley as Catelyn Stark. Our 2s are Kit Harington as Jon Snow, Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo, and Mark Addy as Robert Baratheon. And then the rest are all 1s. Nikolaj Coster-Waldau as Jaime Lannister, Aidan Gillen as Littlefinger, Alfie Allen as Theon Greyjoy, Isaac Hempstead Wright as Bran Stark, Sophie Turner as Sansa Stark, Gwendolyn Christie as Brienne of Tarth, Richard Madden as Robb Stark, and Una Chaplin as Talisa.
So crazy just listing off those names and they're all in the same show. In the same season. This is all of those names. Like, and I guess I'm trying to think if this is the show that made these names. Like, that's why I'm thinking of them as these big actors. Like, were they big before the show? I guess Emilia Clarke
This is Emilia Clarke's breakout role.
Kit Harington,
Definitely
Peter
his.
Dinklage, Lena Headey. Did she do anything before Game of Thrones?
Not that made her an A-lister. Lena Headey's a name now.
Yeah.
What's
Wow.
crazy is the actor I was most familiar with their work before this is Peter Dinklage. And
What
Sean
did he do
Bean.
before?
Elf.
Sean Bean. Okay, Sean Bean's definitely.
Yeah, he did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I guess he's big. He's maybe the name to legitimize the the series
definitely.
sort of thing. So okay, but what did Tyrion do before?
He was an elf. That's all I knew him from.
Oh, X-Men: Days of Future Past.
That was after this though.
What was he in? Oh, that's
Trask.
Yeah. Okay.
And Elf, he's Miles Finch. He's the one who can write the book.
Call
me Elf one more time.
Okay. Wow. He's in Ice Age? Oh, the video game.
Let's rate this episode and then rate the season. For me, this episode, it's going to do pretty fucking well. I don't know about I don't know about 10s across the board or anything, but it's a goodie.
I think genre pretty comfortably. I could slice a 10 in there.
I think so too.
Though. That one's pretty undeniable. But I think enjoyment here, I'm not actually at a 10. I don't think. I do have some, but it's like 9.25 would be like the floor. I feel like here. And maybe 9.25 or 9.5 is more of where I'm at. I don't know.
I'd go 9.5. Like I'm there. This is a damn good episode.
Yeah.
And I love watching it. Let's see critically. This is a damn good episode. I don't know if it's I don't know if I can tell you it's topped. It's one of the best of the season. I think it's better than the last episode critically. I think it's better looking. I think it's overall probably better written as far as the setup it's doing for the next season. I can't tell you I couldn't tell you it's honestly any better or worse than Blackwater. Like I think I would almost certainly have to tie it there at 9.25.
I think that's kind of honestly where I was, because I was like thinking of last episode, and we're only at King's Landing last episode, and they didn't have to do a whole lot of jumping with storylines and stuff like that. But this one they did have to jump around, and so you do have that aspect of it. But I think individually, like you look at just Stannis and Melisandre, like their scene, that's like critically that like the shot of Stannis's like eyes looking into the fire, and like you see the reflection, like and like I think the episode even opens like on a super close to someone's eye. I think it's Tyrion. Yeah, it's Tyrion's eye, and like him waking up, and like you see it, like you see him actually wake up and like gain vision. I don't know, it's crazy, like some of the shots they had this episode. So I think like they focused more on like the beauty and like setting up specific shots of this episode more, but it didn't feel, I guess, as cohesive as last episode.
Right.
But I think it all like averages out to about the same.
That's where I'm on the same exact page. I'm right there with you.
So okay, if we do that, that gives it a 9.58, 96, which ties it with episode 7, A Man Without Honor. And did that have a tie with anything else? Probably.
Yeah, a golden crown.
A golden crown. Okay, so a 3-way tie there. So I guess what does that place it? Number 1 is it still Baylor?
Yeah,
8.3
still topping the bar.
Yeah. 9. What was the next highest?
9.75.
9.75 Blackwater. Okay, so Baylor, then Blackwater, and then
9.67s.
Prince of Winterfell, The Old Gods and the New, and any season 1?
That's it.
No. And then the 3-way tie, maybe, between.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tied for fourth. A 3-way tie for 4th. So our top 5 is gonna like our 52-year journey through film. Like our top 10 included like 20 or 30 something movies. I feel like that's gonna happen by the end of this show. It's gonna be the same thing here. Yeah, the top 5 episodes of Game of Thrones are 33 episodes in total.
But judging by our ratings, the ranking of the season 2 episodes would go 975 going to Blackwater, tied for second would be 967 for The Old Gods and the New and The Prince of Winterfell. In third, we would have a tie at 958 between A Man Without Honor and Valar Morghulis. After that, it would go down to a 933, the pilot of the season. The first episode, the premiere, not the pilot. After that, it'd go to 925 in episode 3, What is Dead May Never Die. After that, it goes down to 867, episode 5, The Ghost of Harrenhal. After that, an 858 in the episode 2, The Nightlands, and our series low so far, tied for our series low so far, episode 4, Garden of Bones at a 7.67.
Yeah.
Good season, and that'll be important coming into the overall rating here. Enjoyment wise, gotta say I enjoyed this more than season 1. It's a better season.
Well, we enjoyed season 1 at a 975.
We enjoyed it at a 9.
Oh, sorry, that's genre. I always think enjoyment's in the middle. We had it in the middle for the 52. I don't know why I switched the order, and I really should line it up.
Well, you put it in the order we do it.
That's why.
Yeah, we used to do it, just jump around in the...
You're right. That is... Okay.
It makes more sense like this.
You're right. Okay.
But,
okay, you're right. So it wasn't 9. So we do have room, which I do like, because I don't think it's a 10 enjoyment necessarily, but I do like it more than season 1. I do agree with that.
925, I think a 925 is a safe place to go in this one. Because again, there's room to grow. I know I like seasons more than this.
I'm there. And the actual average, the real average of our enjoyment was a 915. So
cool.
I think that works pretty well actually there. So, okay. Genre? Who?
I think you got to go 975 once again.
We're not quite there.
Yeah.
I don't think we're quite there out of 10 yet, but man, we got so close this season.
We had some damn good episodes. It's a lot there. The whole back half of the season, once again.
Yeah, this episode had so much fantasy and so much lore. Right. There was a lot, but now they can really just hit the world has been built completely. Now you know every character and all the little things about them, kind of, and their relationships they have. Now it's now let the fantasy run wild and all of the war and everything.
Right.
I think 975 works there. The real average was a 955.
Okay.
But I do think it does deserve the bump. I do think it does deserve the bump, though.
I think so too.
Okay. Critically now. Better than season 1?
I feel that way on the whole, I think. I think it was
of episode 4. That was I don't know. Why did we give it a 7? What happened?
There was just a lot of unnecessary violence, and it was over the top in its portrayal of torture, which was why we could have gone without it and it would have been just fine, but they insisted on showing it to us.
Oh, you're right. That's that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. Better than season 1? I think so. Oh, okay. Visually, definitely. They know what they're doing now. I guess storytelling? Maybe that's where season 1 might have it. The story of just Ned and holy fuck.
It might just be a 9. Might be on the same footing. It might just be a tie there as far as that's concerned.
I don't think it was. I can't say that it was better made than season 1.
Right.
And okay. I like that. If we do give it a 9, that averages out the average for the total average for season 2 is a 933, which is above season 1, which was a 925.
All right.
So I do think that actually works out pretty well.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah. critically, the real average was an 8.83, so very close to 9.
There you go.
And then our average of the averages was a 9.18, so basically pretty spot on. Actually,
Pretty close. And thus ends season 2 of Winter is Blooming. It's almost time for season 3, baby. You got any votes for what House Sigil should be the background on season 3?
Okay, well, House Stark is very dwindled at the end of this, and like if we have it be okay, we already had Stark. Now we had Baratheon. I mean, the Lannisters win at the end. You know, they have the victory. It's I don't want to call it that, but the Red Wedding is a huge, massive victory for the House Lannister. Let's see.
Do we go with like the flayed man of the House Bolton?
Ooh, okay.
Big Ramsay season. Big Roose is a big part.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think about them because I'm like House Lannister will definitely come back up. Like they.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I think like season 6, Lannister feels right. That's when Cersei basically ascends the throne. Like, there's a lot of good in season 6 for Lannister. Season 4, I kind of want to go the Martells down in Dorne. You know, we get Pedro Pascal that whole season.
The Mountain and the Viper. Okay, I like that. Season 5, the High Sparrow. Let's see, Dance of Dragons, Mother's Mercy, Hard Home. What happens here? What happens in season 5? High Sparrow. Oh, that's like. Oh, maybe we.
Oh, maybe we do the 7-pointed star. The
that could be pretty good.
The High Sparrow. Actually. Yeah.
Okay, so season 6, Lannister. 7 would be. Targaryen.
See, 7 and 8, I kind of go Targaryen.
Just
all of
it has
that.
to be Targaryen there, and then maybe season 7.
Season 8 is like a whole amalgamation of all of it, like just a little bit of everything. Yeah.
So yeah, I think Bolton. That's a good sigil for next season though. Definitely a big Ramsay season. Let's see. Are we missing? We have Stark. We have Baratheon.
Lannister.
We will get Lannister. We will get Targaryen.
You can get Tyrells. The Rose of the Tyrells.
Marjorie. Is it a big Marjorie season at all? When does Marjorie start popping off?
Okay, maybe that could be season 6 because that's when Marjorie is married to Tommen and really.
Yeah. Okay.
7 could be Lannister at that point because that's when Cersei is actually queen.
And 8 is Targaryen because it's Jon and Daenerys.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're on it. But with that, we will conclude season 2 of Winter is Blooming, and we'll be back next week for season 3, baby. We're kicking it off. There's not a gap like there was between the actual seasons. We're just back next week for season 3 premiere. Valar Dohaeris, the response to Valar Morghulis. So that's perfect. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of movie, book reviews, comic book pull lists. There was a new Star Wars book that came out last week. It's the Jedi Fallen Order spin-off book, which I'm deep into and will be reviewing over there. I've got my first viewings project is going on over there, my only in theaters project going on over there. I reviewed Creed 3 and gave my full Rocky ranking last week. I'm going to review Cocaine Bear here before long. Tons of content over there for you, just tons of it. So go ahead and check that out for $3 a month. You can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. If you were fucking with me and Joe, we're covering The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch right now on Wednesdays. It's going very well right now. Just extremely excited about what those shows are doing right now. So we're covering that on Wednesdays on our Star Wars umbrella show, Rebellion's Bloom, with Kyler Barnett. Very, very exciting stuff. Last Friday for our comic book journey through film, we did Batman Mask of the Phantasm with the Yubcast, which was a very good episode and strongly recommend you go check that out if you haven't. But this Friday brings us Batman Forever, where we are joined by a friend I've had for close to 2 decades, 15 years now, Michael Muehlberger joining us for that Batman Forever. And I'm so excited for y'all to hear that. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And Valar Morghulis.